Well, I think the DeFi dinner is probably one of my favorite pieces. And yeah, I think, I don't know who's seen that piece, but it was, I think it's cool because we're actually trying to, in all the pieces, we're actually like telling the story of Wilder World and this interdimensional, rescue mission that we're on. So we are building a whole backstory that is, part of it is, fantasy, but part of it is actually stuff that's happened in real life with real people, real characters. And I think the blend, like when we think meta, to me, it's not just like the metaverse or virtual online world. It's actually it's all encompassing reality. It's looking at the whole thing. And that's, I think AR is being like severely underthought about or underrated in terms of what it can actually do and how it can be this bridge to the virtual world. And so even though we are building everything for, VR native, we have all this other stuff that we've been working on that ties directly in. And I think that this kind of ties into like the Zuckerberg piece, which is kind of, we were wanting to, we were thinking like, what's obviously like we've been working so hard. We've built, launched 4 blockchain protocols in the last year. We've been working on those protocols for some of them. We've been working on for 5 years. We've got, the full, Unreal Engine SDK and basically like, very early first version of Wyoming and racing. And we just launched Wheels and all these types of things. So there's so much happening, and we're so busy, but we were like, oh, we got to obviously do an NFT on our own marketplace. And, Frank obviously has to drop one in the guild. So we've done 2 guild drops so far. Right? This is the third. So technically Frank's the third member of the guild. And this Zuckerberg, I think, is really interesting. Obviously everything happened with Meta, which was kind of interesting, and, kind of like hijacking that name, which is hilarious. But I think the thing that like that's contradictory of the whole notion of meta is that I think in order for any type of metaverse to be successful, it effectively needs to be, it's not going to be one organization. It's going to be multiple organizations. And so there is this process needing to happen. And I think we've definitely gone through it on our journey in terms of, like making our software open source, giving 100% of the proceeds back to the community, just kind of like being in surrender and saying, hey, we have the capacity to create, and that capacity is infinite. Like and in the moment at which you begin to try and hold on to that creation, or you begin to have scarcity, it's like the creations are not ours anyways. The creations they're, from my perspective, they're coming from source, like, and it's just being available to your own gifts. And I think as an artist, as a creator, whether you're making music, whether you're making, digital art, whether you're creating code, it's like the best work happens when you're in a state of openness, you're in a state of flow. And it's very hard to be in a state of flow if, you're trying to control and you're trying to, dictate exactly how the future is going to come. And so I think that this piece was a way for us to, for fun, kind of share our perspective on the Facebook thing, and to really, try to create something, try to, show the differences in terms of where we're coming from, in terms of, the spirit of what we're creating. So, and it was Halloween, and it's hilarious. So maybe Frank, you can kind of like, talk a little bit about the piece and, give your perspective on it. And we can go from there.
Nice. Yeah. The idea just came about. I think, we generally like to encapsulate, as Neo said, we can kind of pick a moment in time. And if you look back, you go through museums, you go through, its art is always representative of the time. So I think that's important, especially for this instance and what we've kind of been working on. And then it was just fun. Yeah, I think the timing was perfect. There was space between Wheels kind of closing out and NFT NYC and things, so there was space to release something which felt fun, and we could be cheeky, and it kind of seems ominous and dark if you look at it, but you can perceive it however you wish. But yeah, and it's the robots. I mean, it's Terminator. It's the return of the bots trying to kind of take over this new uncharted land. And there's a lot of funny Easter eggs throughout the piece, which I think speak to Facebook and kind of their policies, and as they've been seen and how they've represented themselves over the years. So there's kind of no reason that would change. And it is in complete contradiction to, I think, what the true spirit of the metaverse represents. So it's just shining light on that. And I think it's the easiest way to create contrast and create an other. And that's never something that I think we like to do. But in this instance, it felt easy and fun. So that was the Zuckerborg. Yeah. It kind of came about that the concept landed where we were like, okay, we have to do like the Zuck AI Terminator and show his metaverse. So from there, that was kind of how the piece came alive.